There's a fascinating writing by the American Buddhist teacher, Episcopal, and she wrote on the occasion of the attacks of September 11th in 2001. Shotra wrote at that time that moments like 9/11, moments of collective catastrophe, allow us to see that humanity is at its core good. Let me say that again. That at moments of collective catastrophe, humanity shows its goodness. She says that that is because in the moment of that collective gasp, right, we let go. We let go of all that we think has been keeping us safe, all that we have used to order our individual world. And in that moment, we are truly ourselves, vulnerable creatures, deeply connected, deeply interlinked to each other. Good at our core. I find this really compelling and very possibly true. It echoes the theology of our faith, which says that we are created in the image of one who is beyond good, who is enormously creative, the one whose greatest and continuing work is to bring us, with all our messiness and brokenness, into relationship with the divine, with the blessed. It's pretty fascinating to think about. I hazard to say that those of us who are alive will never forget where we were or what we lost on that day, be it our innocence, a sense of security, a loved one, or a landmark that we treasured. All gone. And yet, if we are to understand that there is the possibility in the moment of profound loss for gratitude, it is the reminder that it is in the breaking apart, the catastrophic throwing of stone from stone, that new truths are revealed in ways that the solid wall can't let us see. A few years ago, I threw down the stones of my life. I disassembled who I was and where I lived, and I left my work and I went to seminary. I went back to school. Crazy thing to do. Highly recommend it for crazy things to do. It allowed room in my life for some new truths to be seen, some new space to be opened. One of the great gifts of that is that I come into contact with theologians that I never would have read, just kind of casually existing in the world. And one of those is a woman by the name of Grace Enemi. And Grace is a theologian writing from Cameroon in West Africa. She writes deeply and profoundly about lives as Christians and life in Christian community. And in one of her writings, she uses a traditional understanding in her culture of stones to explore our life as Christians. She said in her culture in Cameroon, there are two types of stone. There is living stone and there is dead stone. Living stones are flexible. They can be carried about. They're used to sustain life and can be used in creative ways. The example she gives of the living stones in use is that when a new couple gets married, when a couple comes to be married in the traditional sense, one of the acts that will happen is that either symbolically or practically, a cooking fire will be assembled as a sign of that new family being formed, of that new life and identity. The cooking pit is made up of 3 living stones. The first stone is put in place by the bride and her new husband. The second stone is put in place by the bride and the family she is with that raised her. The third stone is put in place by the bride and her in-laws. These are stones that will nurture and sustain new life. Dead stones, she says, are stones that are mammoth boulders, right? That lie under the seabed or the riverbed. They're out in the field. They're stones we have to go around that prevent us plowing over and creating something new. She invites us to see how traditions like that, how an understanding of stones in her culture, might help us to look differently at our scripture. So I lift up to you this reading from 1 Peter. As you come to him, the living stone, rejected by humans, but chosen by God and precious to God, you also, like living stones, are being built into a spiritual house, to be a holy priesthood, offering spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. For in Scripture it says, "See, I lay a stone in Zion, a chosen and precious cornerstone, and the one who trusts in him will never be put to shame." Living stones, dead stones, stones that prevent us from moving forward, and stones which pave a new way. Like the disciples, I hazard to say, we live in tumultuous times. I am old enough to know the fear of change, to know the fear of things that I trusted passing away, of new ground that I need to walk in new ways. And that brings fear into my heart. And maybe a little grief at the loss of what might pass by. But in our gospel today, we're given a reminder of something that is essential to us as followers of Jesus. We are not a people of fear. We are not a people of fear. We are a people of hope. When the disciples asked Jesus how to read the signs around them, Jesus says, do so with hope. Do so with eyes peeled for where God is present in that moment. Do so, Jesus says, with the wisdom of knowing that the essential things, the truth, does not change. The externals do change. The manifestations that man builds around those truths, they change. The truths do not. I often marvel at how well equipped this next generation is going to be for this work of being living stones. Have you ever leaned over the shoulder of a young one as they were playing a game called Minecraft? It's a video game, one of the most popular video games out there. And it's a video game in which there are three-dimensional cubes you move around, right guys? Have you played it? You move them around to create new structures. And when one's not working, you just kind of let it go and reconfigure it again, all right? You play? Yeah. And you do so in ways that allow life to continue and be created. The kingdom that Jesus announces with his every breath and his very existence, his very life, is one which breaks boundaries, which separate us, and proclaims a new community coming into being, one of welcome, one of forgiveness, one of restoration. The work of being Jesus' people, Christians in the 21st century, will involve loss and grief. We will eventually do things differently. Life changes. But we know that if we take seriously the call that we hear in 1 Peter, that we are all the holy priesthood, and that God is in this church, walls do not define us. The gospel teaching is that these moments, these tumultuous moments, which challenge and grieve us, are moments of divine redefinition. Like stones on their way to the quarry, we will be shaped. We will be honed by a life of discipleship. We'll be polished like beautiful jewels, leaving us to reflect not on stones thrown about in chaos, the dead stones which block new things from coming to be, but which lead us deeper into our scriptures, into that wonderful book that we can pick up and find comfort in, where we hear in the words of Isaiah, "For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. Of the former things shall not be remembered or come to mind, but be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy, and its people as a delight." Living stones, light, mobile, flexible, generative. Let us welcome change. Let us hold on to truths. Let us never forget that in all that is, God